Hi, I'm Gav Barbey. I'm an interdisciplinary artist. My work is based really around immersive and participatory work.
This one's the Sydney Harbour series and it's the most beautiful blues. Gav has spent a lot of time on the harbour, so it's really exciting to see a concept that matches up to these iceworks in a beautiful way.
It's been a long time in the coming to do a Sydney Harbour series. The iceworks really for me are around process. They're like a meditation on transformation. The flow of water, as in painted in ultramarine blue, reflecting that harbour, the Sydney Opera House sails, the Harbour Bridge curve. So there's kind of, for me, this play now between the graphical and then putting the ice blocks on top of that graphical and allowing them to reshape that landscape. Which, I think the harbour is constantly doing, even though we have, to some degree, parametered, it still has this wonderful organic nature that tides come in, tides go out, patterns are made.
Without great art, we have nothing. They're putting everything into making this amazing work for us, so we put everything we can into delivering it to a market and showing the work in its best light.
Some reason I froze an ice cream container full of pink paint and an ice cream container full of blue paint. And then months and months later, found them in the freezer and sat up for 12 hours watching these things melt and create these patterns. There was the urge to want to stop the pattern, and then within seconds later, it would have transformed into something else. So there was a beautiful push-pull where I could manipulate them or play with them to a certain degree, but yet I had to also be dictated by them. I had to flow with their natural flow. All my work really is about movement. It's trying to find and break that wall of still life. So I don't know if it was a happy accident or if it was just part of that beautiful thing about being curious and wanting to play. There's inspiration everywhere. I think play is a really big part of being an artist. Well, I think it's a big part of being anything, really.
You don't know what you're going to get at the end. It's this beautiful organic form. There's always an element of the unknown in this work that's quite remarkable.
There's so much happening that the naked eye doesn't pick up. But when you speed up the film, we see that massive amount of movement and change. So it's this beautiful thing around, I love organic form, but I also like symmetry. There's a natural patterning that comes from the works. There's a great diversity of what I can utilise as pigment from the synthetic pigments that are in most of these. And that derives from inks and dyes, acrylics, and a lot of dried pigment, a lot of crushed pigment. But yet also, utilising natural pigments, so natural dyes out of nature. I guess that's part of that curiosity really, is how much pigment do I put in, which pigments do I mix together. You get pattern after pattern after pattern. Eventually you end up with a piece that is dry and there's your final art or your final painting. Creating a block of ice, a sculptural piece, a dimensional piece, freezing it and then melting it, and then you end up with a stain. There's something fascinating about that, for me, about that transformation, that journey, that transmogrification that we have. For me, an idea will dictate the medium rather than the medium always dictating what I do. The circle has become quite prominent in my work around my art. I think there's something about that we're drawn to this circular nature. I notice movement. Being a dyslexic and growing up not reading books, you learn to read another language, and that language is kind of everywhere. So for me, there's always multiple information on a pictorial level coming into me and also out of me. I guess it revolves around that pattern of life, the circle of life. I see these works as a natural comment on symmetry of patterning and then that beautiful organic flow of nature, which is always dictated by change.